Hello again and welcome to another Mordy and Glory bolt action video. In today's episode, we shall be asking and answering one simple question. What is the best US starter army if you want to get ready for bolt action 3rd edition? And so without further ado, let's not mess around any further. Let's salute the flag, hear the call of an eagle, and storm right into today's episode. Now, first things first, I want to cover a few of the factors, a few of the criteria that we are going to be taking into account when reviewing these box sets. Firstly, we're going to be looking at the units you get. Are they overly niche or are they quite flexible? Secondly, we'll be looking at the quality of those units and the sprues that you get. So are they newer sprues with the weapons that come molded into the hands, which is really convenient? Or are they the older ones where you might need to get a bit fiddly when building the infantry? Are there any resin components? Are there any metal components? And lastly, but possibly most importantly, we will be considering bang for buck. Are you getting a lot in the box for the price you are paying? But with all of that said, now let's get into the starter armies themselves. And coming in third and last place, we have the US Marines starter army. Now, this isn't a bad box per se. And when you look at some of the unit stuff that you get in it, it actually does seem like you get quite a lot. So you get 7 US Marine Corps sprues. Each one of those sprues comes with enough bits to build 6 Marines. So you get 42 infantry, not bad at all. You also get a couple of the US weapon sprues, which allows you to equip some of your guys with the bazookas and some of the more unique and specialized weapons too. So your infantry section is really solid, and those sprues are quite high quality. I know a few people that have built the US Marines say that they're actually a pretty nice kit and very flavorful, and the models have got a lot of character to them. Also in plastic, you get an M3A1 plastic half-track, which is a useful model to have, and being able to transport around your Devil Dogs gives you a bit of extra tactical flexibility. We also have some metal models, so you get a metal medic, a metal flamethrower team, a metal medium mortar, a metal 37mm light anti-tank gun, and 2 metal 30 cal medium machine gun teams. Some people may be put off by so many metal units, but I can say that building metal models is really easy. I've been doing it for years, and you tend to find that they're actually really easy. They're often just one-piece models that you just glue straight onto the base, and the only thing you need to do if you are building metal models is to make sure that you use a good super glue. I find using like store-owned brands, that's a bit tricky, but if you buy some a good branded super glue like Gorilla Glue or Loctite, you should have no problem with building these models. And if you, after you've painted them, you spray them with a nice matte varnish, that will seal the paint in and stop any chipping. And really that solves the only 2 downsides of having to deal with metal models. So on the surface, this seems like a pretty good box. However, it does have a couple of big downsides. Firstly, you get the niche 37mm light anti-tank gun. Now, unless things change dramatically in bolt action 3rd edition, and they very well may do, light anti-tank guns are, well, frankly, a little bit light. They're a bit niche, and they do struggle to deal with heavier tanks. And speaking of tanks, this army does not come with one, and that is a real drawback. Considering you're paying £104 for this kit, you are getting a lot of infantry, which is great, but not having a tank. And when you compare it to some of the German starter armies, which pretty much all come with tanks for about the same price point, it definitely is a limiting factor. Overall, I think this is a decent starter army. The price is in line with a lot of other starter armies from other factions, and you do get an abundance of infantry and lots of options for them. The only issue is you do have that niche light anti-tank gun, and the lack of tank might hold it back. But if you're a big fan of the US Marines and you want to start them in bolt action, you can do a lot worse than buying this box set and then getting yourself a plastic tank separately. But moving on to our next contestant, we have the good old US Army Starter Army. This comes with 36 multi-pose US Army infantry, and I have checked the sprues for these, and they are the newer design which come with the weapons molded into the hand. So these will be a dream to build, and they come with all sorts of weapon options such as BARs and Garands and grease guns and SMGs. You get everything you need and all the different options to build a nice varied infantry force. On top of that, you also get a plastic M3A1 half-track. Good transport, similar to what we got in the Marine box. But on top of that, and the thing that really places this ahead of the previous army, we do get included an M4 Sherman medium tank. This is the medium tank of the Allied forces, and it's just a good all-round vehicle. And having one in this army just covers all of your bases. You've got transports, you've got tanks, and you've got a shed load of infantry. But wait, there's more. You also get some metal support units, and you get a metal 105mm artillery and a metal medium mortar team. Having two sources of HE and two sources of indirect fire makes this really good for second edition, and I imagine having lots of artillery is probably going to be good going into the new edition as well. We then get to the last items in the box, and these are a bit funny. So you get 3 US Army medium machine gun teams. Now the US Army is interesting in bolt action second edition because they can take 3 MMG teams, whereas most armies can only take 1. But the funny thing is that MMG teams aren't very good in second edition. However, the number one thing that you hear people talk about on bolt action, about how would they change the game, what would they improve, whenever you see posts like that on forums, the first thing that comes up is, I wish they made medium machine gun teams better. So it is a little bit risky and you are hedging your bets a little bit, but I suspect that Warlord Games will be aware that is something the community wants to see, and they very well may make medium machine guns actually pretty good. Here's the thing, even if the MMG teams don't get improved, and worst case scenario, the US is no longer able to take 3 of them in one army, these things are not useless. If you look at the armies of the US book right now, there are a number of units that can take these M1990 machine guns, which are what you get in these medium machine gun teams, and they can take them just inside their squads. So for example, you've got the Rangers who can take the M1919, and you've also got the US Airborne. So regardless of whether you can take 3 going forward, I think these MMGs are not actually a problem. And even if you were looking at this just for second edition, looking at this for like an army right now, you could take those MMG teams and just put them into your squads and just use them as basically extra filler for your line infantry. With all of that said, I do still see the US MMG teams as a little bit of a risk factor in this box, and also the price is a bit higher as well. It is £123 at the time of recording, which puts it into the more expensive side of bolt action starter sets. So it's good, but the bang for buck is a little bit, it's not 100% there, and you do have that small risk factor, but it goes above the Marines because you don't have as much niche units, and also you have that fantastic plastic tank. It's an all-in-one box set. But coming in first place, and one of my all-time favorite starter armies in all of bolt action, not even just for the US, we have the US Airborne Starter Army. In my opinion, this is the best way to get into bolt action with the US. Firstly, it is the cheapest box set, coming in at just £69, and you can get that for a deep discount if you look at third-party sellers. Secondly, this is a highly available starter army. You sometimes find game stores don't have the US Starter Army for the Marines or for the regular army, but I have never been into a game store that stocks bolt action and not had one of these on the shelves. It's the go-to. It's what Warlord gives to what Warlord recommends to a lot of third-party stockists, because it's just such a good starter set. And with that low price, it's very, very low risk. If you get into the game and you decide that you don't like it, that's not a problem at all. You've not overinvested, and this allows you to dip your toe in the water. And I say the best thing about this kit is the bang for buck. Speaking of which, what do we get in here? Well, you get 36 US Airborne Infantry. That's the same amount as you get in the US Army starter set, so you get the same amount of infantry. You also get 4 US Airborne HQ figures, so these are your officers, so you can use these to represent your lieutenants, and you'll probably have a couple that you can use for like observers and stuff like that, to medics. You get 1 US Airborne 50 cal HMG team, so it's an HMG team, heavy machine gun, not a medium machine gun, and you only get the 1 of them. So unlike in the US Marines kit where you get 2 of them, or like in the US Army set where you get 3 medium machine guns, in this you just get the 1 machine gun, so you're not overcommitted. Yes, the HMG is potentially a little bit niche because it's not an MMG, but on the flip side, you're just getting the 1. So I think the risk factor balances out easily there. You then have a medium mortar, which is a fantastic staple unit of any bolt action army, and you get a 57mm anti-tank gun, which is not a light anti-tank gun. I don't like light anti-tank guns because I do see them as niche, and that's one of the things that holds back the US Marine starter army. And if you saw my previous video on Soviet starter armies, it's what holds back that sort of summer 1940, 1943 Soviet starter army, that very niche anti-tank gun. But a medium AT gun, you can't go wrong with that. It's going to be able to take on light things, heavy things. It's just a good all-round threat. Now, this starter set doesn't come with any vehicles, and in theory, that should hold it back. But here's the thing. This starter set is so much cheaper than the other ones that you could buy this and then go and get yourself an M4 Sherman and have a really nicely balanced force and still be saving money over getting something like the US starter army, like significant savings. And if you really want to, you could get the half track and you could get the Sherman, and you'd probably still be saving money over if you went for the US Army starter set, and you would be getting a bunch of units that you might not want, like those 3 medium machine guns. I just think that the US Airborne set has it all. It's cheap, you've got room to expand, and you also get lots and lots of efficient use. There's no fat, there's no filler in the starter army. It is the full package. Now that covers the top US starter armies. However, there is one more honorable mention that I want to do, and that is the US Airborne 1000 point D-Day Invasion Force. Now this is definitely not the best starter army out there. Okay, it's relatively limited and it is made up entirely of metal models, and those metal models, you have no options with what you build with them. So you get a bunch of guys with Garands, and they have Garands, you can't really change that. You get a bunch of guys with SMGs. They're all metal models, they're all with fixed loadouts. You do, however, get a couple of advantages here. Firstly, you do have the unique Pathfinder models, which I don't believe you can get anywhere else but this starter army. But here's the thing that I like about this set. The models are beautiful. This is the starter army that I chose to get for my US Army. And yes, the models are a bit less practical and you are fixed with what you get. And there's a huge risk factor here because of these. If the 3rd edition changes significantly, this army might be a bit of risk there, but the models are so beautiful. They are a cut above all the other US infantry, all of the plastic infantry, that it is worth an honorable mention. So if you're someone that is more on the collector side, more on the painting side, and you want models that are highly detailed with a huge amount of character, then this is definitely a starter army you want to consider. But if you're just interested in getting the best bang for buck, this is not the start set for you. Now that just about covers everything, but of course all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you agree with how I have ranked these starter armies, or do you think that one should be higher and one should be lower? Let me know what is your favorite US starter set down below. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.